here we go. Good morning. I'm so happy everybody's here. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing what your favorite feelings are. I think we've got some pretty cool ones out there. Like I said, welcome. If you're new to Creative Mornings, we're really happy to have you. I know we have someone from Jacksonville, Florida, so welcome to Charlottesville. It is probably not as warm as it is in Jacksonville right now, so but we're happy it's a sunny day here anywho. So as always, participation encouraged. There's reactions, emojis, all sorts of things for you to share what you're feeling while Yolanda gives her talk later on this morning. And we always start off with a group photo. So I'm going to get ready for that. If you want to get your favorite plant that's around, or your favorite sticker, because I know Emma has a ton of stickers, or a baby like little Nelson, or a puppy, whatever, get ready. Here we go. Oh, someone did bring a plant. Yes. All right. Oh, so many cool plants and a slime pizza and a kitty. All right. I think we're all ready to go. All right. In 1, 2, 3, cheese. This is great. Okay, I'm going to take one more. All right, here we go. Oh, we got 2B in the mix too. In 1, 2, 3, cheese. Thank you all for participating. Thank you, plants, for coming to the screen. We appreciate you too. All right, so Creative Mornings is in 220 cities in 67 countries around the world with 27,000 attendees per month, almost 9,000 talks online with 10.7 million views. So we really are a part of a much bigger picture on this planet. This month's theme is biophilia. Actually, we did this a little earlier, but I kind of want to do it again. How many people, by like show of hand, on screen or in the chat, how many people knew about biophilia before they saw this theme or the word biophilia? I think just a couple. I know Jess did. Doesn't seem that many. I didn't either. We were talking about that earlier. So very cool to learn something new and learn a new word. So Creative Mornings has a new global partner, Skillshare. And Skillshare this month is offering 1 month free for attendees of Creative Mornings around the world. There's a variety of classes ranging from intro to photography, houseplant care to botanical illustrations. We'll have that link for you in the chat should you want to check it out. And next is Mailchimp. And then earlier this year, Mailchimp redesigned their longstanding partner program, making it easier to join as a freelancer or agency at any level. If you use Mailchimp for your business or your clients, this might be something that you'll want to check out. And last but not least, Basecamp and Hey. They're actually doing something pretty cool. I checked out this morning. So they're attempting to bring a little relief to the dumpster fire that has been 2020 with a literal dumpster fire. They're currently accepting email submissions containing content that you want to watch burn. Submit your email through the link and watch it get set ablaze. It's pretty cool. Definitely recommend checking it out. They have like a conveyor belt where they take your emails that you want to burn and they dump it into a literal dumpster fire. So if you need to get your aggression out in some way, this might be a good way. So many thanks to our local partners, which are Worth Higgins and Associate Ting, the Fralin, Willow Tree, UVA Arts, The Bridge, and New City Arts. We have one announcement this morning from Alan. Oh, Alan, you were muted. There you are.
I gotcha. Hey, everyone. I just wanted to let you know that The Bridge made your holiday shopping easy for you this year. If you are still looking for some items for some people or something cozy for yourself, we've got some fantastic prints on shirts and sweaters and totes by local artists, printed locally, and all proceeds support the bridge. So if you would like, you can head over to our web store at the link I just shared with you and get something nice. Thanks.
Thanks, Alan. All right, so we always read our virtual our manifesto. It's virtual while we're still online, and always ask for a volunteer. So is there anybody by show of hand or raising your hand through Zoom that would like to read the manifesto this morning? Okay, great. Ariel. Oh, you're still on mute.
Okay. Good morning. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others, in jazz hands, virtual claps, and virtual snaps. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you so much. All right, so time to introduce our speaker for this morning. Yolanda Coles-Jones is a healing and empowerment-centered coach, home-based education consultant, and creative, currently residing in Albemarle County, Virginia. She's married to her friend and partner, Will Jones III, and a mama parental to 5 kiddos. Her most prominent professional work in this season is utilizing her 12 years of experience as a working homeschool mom to walk you step by step through customizing a mindful education plan that brings personal, professional, and relational goals together with the desire for your children's academic successes in light of COVID-19. So I know Yolanda's on. Good morning, and thank you so much. Please join me in welcoming Yolanda.
Thank you. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Maureen, and all the folks there at Creative Mornings for having me. I deeply appreciate the invitation. Thank you to all of you for your interest in being with me here at this time and in this way. My name is Yolanda Coles-Jones, and yes, my work in the world is that I am a healing, wellness, and empowerment-centered coach, as well as an education consultant. I come alongside households, so families, individuals, also teachers and school systems, and what we do together is deepen into conscious connection. From that place of connection, we build confidence, we develop clarity, we realize calm, and we implement strategies for success. So basically, I help people find courage to face the day, moment by moment, with confidence, clarity, and calm. So I'm invited in that role to speak to you today about biophilia, what the heck it is, what it has to do with me and what I do, and what relevance it could in fact have for you at this time. So let's begin at the beginning. Okay, so if you're anything like me, seeing this word at first glance registers absolutely nothing for you. Maybe, as someone mentioned earlier this morning, it makes you think about books, perhaps. I know for me, initially, that was the same sort of experience, but now at this point, I'm a little bit of a local expert. I want to thank the folks again at Creative Mornings for expanding me, exposing me to a new word. Not necessarily a new concept though, as I hope you will find as well. This is something that's been with me for a really long time. It's been in my work, it is in my work, and you'll probably find as we continue our time together that it's something that you're more familiar with than you know. So when I thought about this word, biophilia, it made me think of 2 things. And let me stop. I want to invite you to come and let's co-create a definition for the purposes of our time together. So we don't get lost at this word, really. I want you to really know what it means. And again, knowing what words mean is really important. it makes me think of two things. In my work, conscious communication is really important. I call it conscious communication, but really what it is paying attention to what you say and knowing that words matter. Words have power. The second thing I think about in thinking about this word biophilia is my high school English teacher, one of them at least, my favorite one. Her name is Mrs. Yule. And those of you who are in Charlottesville right now, and maybe you attended Albemarle High School in the same years that I did, might know Mrs. Yule. Mrs. Yule was a tall, pale woman. She had short red hair that she always used to flip like this, always. She had these gold wire rim glasses and she talked through her teeth like this. So she talked through her teeth while she glided through the aisles of our desks, and she talked to us about the etymology of words all the time. So much studying the etymology of words. So root meaning, prefixes, suffixes, Greek, Latin, and I ate it all up. I loved it because I loved words. And so I thought about Miss Yule. I remembered my teacher. I remembered my high school training, and I looked again at this word, biophilia. And to my surprise, I could decode it. I saw the word bio, and I understand that that segment, that prefix, is Greek for life, or that which is living. And the segment phil is Greek for love, very strong love, attraction to, an affinity for something. And so if I were to look at those two segments put together side by side, I could come to an essential meaning. So I have an affinity for, love for, strong attraction to that which is living or life. So that can be our root meaning, right? And so when we move on from that place, we're able to come to the noun, biophile, to the descriptor, biophilic, the adjective, and to the phenomenon, biophilia. Okay, so stay with me. If you were to perform a Google image search for this word, you'd see populating in the results images of spaces, rooms, indoors, showcasing lush green foliage, crisp white cumulus clouds against blue skies. You'd see brown dirt, soil. You might see roots gripping the earth. You'd likely see moving water, walls of windows. So all of these elements brought indoors. These spaces then are described as being biophilic. Serious students or creators who utilize biophilic design don't just see the colors and the textures and the superficial possibilities of these themes. They're keenly aware also of the potential impact that these earth-centered motifs have on those who will inhabit the spaces. So people and also animals. There's an impact on things that are living. There's a kind of science behind biophilia. As a student of philosophy, religions, people, and cultures, a University of Virginia humanities majors for the Wahoos in the room, I'm very interested in the science part, the why and the so what behind this phenomenon called biophilia. I work a lot with people who are having difficulty with managing stress. So parents, kiddos, teachers, etc. I'm often called by these people the bringer of calm or the teacher of thrive. I love those titles. It's an honor to hold them. A lot of what I'm teaching folks and helping them to connect with calm and to do what it takes to thrive is backed by science. A lot of it has to do with spirituality as well, and we'll get to that. But in my work, I guide folks to connection to that which is essential. Core, elemental. So elements, earth, air, water, fire. It's one of the many grounding mantras, in fact, that I teach my clients to utilize when they need to close away, when they need to ground and gather up their energies. I teach them to say earth, air, water, fire. And when they say earth, they know to think to find the soles of their feet. When they say air, they know to take a mindful breath. When they say water, they know to either have a sip of water, something to drink, or they could gather the saliva in their mouth and really sense what that feels like, ground in that way. If they say fire, then they think, again, of having that impermeable wall, and also fire has this power to digest. So there's this element of acceptance, has to do with healing. So earth, air, water, fire. In practices like this, we're mimicking nature. And nature is in effect supporting us in doing our lives and being powerful and present and thriving in our lives. Hopefully for you by now, biophilia is becoming something that's making a little more sense. So again, when I think about it, both the scientist and the mystic inside me get excited because I'm a nerd. So I get all juiced up when I think about all of the points of connection. My brain just goes, "Ugh." So even in this moment, you can with me take a breath, because again, I'm excited. So let's do it together. Biophilia has me all juiced up as I'm talking to you about it. So from a biological perspective, seeing, smelling, feeling, hearing certain elements in nature helps prompt most people in the brain and the body to disengage from fight, flight, and freeze, and re-engage with the parasympathetic and autonomic nervous system to then breathe, rest, and digest. So there's this scientific thing that happens when we're exposed to nature and really in the space with it. From a spiritual standpoint, again, which also excites me a great deal, in thinking about biophilia, I found myself at a little bit of a fork in the road. So I'm standing and I'm looking down two roads. And down this one road, I'm thinking about a quote that I heard once. And the quote is, "Over every blade of grass, an angel whispers, grow." What do you see or imagine when you hear that? I can tell you that for me, it's almost like I can see the time-lapse Nat Geo photography, right? I can see this green singular blade of grass growing, swaying a little bit, making its journey up, 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 up. And I can envision this powerful presence. In my imagination, I can see a beautiful brown skin, big afroed out presence, sweetly saying, "Come, keep coming, grow, grow." That's what I can see. And so again, with my nerd self, I had to find where this quote comes from, because I believe in properly citing my sources. And so I had to go and try to find it. And in my initial searching, I found that the quote is said to come from the Jewish book of the law, also called the Talmud. And of course, had to go find the Talmud. Where can I want to actually see it in the Talmud? The quote is not in the Talmud. It's not in the Jewish book of the law. I did some deeper research and I found the study notes, though, of Jewish rabbis. And these rabbis, in my findings, were poking fun at the internet for watering things down. So apparently some things got lost in translation, and some important things, in fact, got lost in translation when it comes to this quote. So again, this is pointing to the importance of words, the importance of language, and how every word does work, as another of my teachers used to say. Conscious communication is so important. What I learned from the rabbis is that the quote doesn't exist in the Talmud, but it does exist in something called the Bereshit Rabbah. And I asked my Jewish friend how to pronounce that, because I wanted to honor that language. So it's part of something called the Midrash, which is commentary on the Hebrew scripture, similar to concordances that you'd find with the Christian Bible. So the Bereshit Rabbah speaks of every herb having its own constellation or set of stars in the sky. And that group of stars over every singular herb, speaking over the herb and striking it. The Hebrew translation for the word is to strike, not to whisper, but strikes the herb, which suggests this idea of pain and discomfort. It goes along with the idea of growing, thriving, making your journey. I think about activist Valerie Kaur and her now famous speech when I ask you this question: are we not, in our society, in our world right now, in the darkness and the pain of both the womb and the tomb, in parts dying, in parts being born and born again and again, in parts ending, transitioning. There's innovation and adaptation, expansion happening. This is happening in sequence and simultaneously. As a woman who has both carried and birthed two different experiences, human life into this world, I know in the fiber of my being, in my bones, in my muscles, in my tissues, that pain, squeezing, pushing, stretching, also ripping, they have powerful, powerful, powerful purpose. In our society, we're so used to finding ways to make the pain and the discomfort go away. But what if we brought presence and confidence and courage, curiosity to the pain? What if? So I'm looking down this first road and I'm thinking about the pain and the discomfort and all of that in association with being alive, simply being alive and growing. And I look down the second road and I'm reminded of a talk I recently heard given by Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. In the talk, Elizabeth speaks powerfully about persistence. She says, persistence is the God that carries you through the part that feels impossible. I'm going to say that again. She says, persistence is the God that carries you through the part that feels impossible. She also says that of everyone who has lived long enough to suffer in any way, which I'm gonna take a leap and imagine that's all of us gathered here today, we've chosen to remain. We've chosen to remain here, earthside, in this span of awareness that we know as life. And in that way, we've demonstrated that we can persist. So I'm here considering life and strong love for it. One road is leading me to understand the pain and the discomfort, the call to purpose. Another road is speaking to perseverance and persistence. And the roads converge, they come together. Their common place is being alive, growing, living, making your journey, making your way, flourishing and thriving. Today we are at a record numbers for instances of anxiety, depression, sleeplessness, lashing out. Science tells us that our brains aren't really helpful with this if left to their own devices. In the book Buddha's Brain, Rick Hansen talks about the decisive and intentional energy that we have to put into remembering the good feelings. He explains that both the brain and the body have tendency towards holding tight to the not so good feelings. In fact, this is in part primal. It's survival oriented, right? So if you're touching this very hot thing, you've touched it, you now remember, this is hot, it will burn me, it will harm me, don't touch that again. This happens in all areas of life where we experience pain. Our body and our brain hold that and associate it with the thing that you don't do again so that you can survive. As we're coming into balancing out our levels of understanding and awareness, bringing more consciousness into the way that we live, the practice and the prompting of really sitting with this phenomenon that we know now as biophilia can help us with all these things, with the anxiety and the depression, the sleeplessness even, the lashing out as well. So try this exercise with me. We've talked about the journeying of a blade of grass and a single herb. I want you in this moment, rather I invite you in this moment to think about the blossoming of a flower. You might even close your eyes so that you can really see it. Think about the courage that it must take to bloom. Think about the persistence. You could even sit with just the beauty that it displays as it's opening. Think about a seed now beneath the ground. It has to die and break open in order for anything to sprout from it or grow. That's a part of it too. Really bring your attention, bring consciousness, bring your awareness, and linger with the sensations that these earth-centered elements might inspire for you. Sit with the calm, sit with the stillness, sit with the love and the beauty. Hold on to that peace for a bit. Think about the success, the being, expansiveness. Consider the sky. Where does the sky begin and end? You can't even put your finger on it. You can't name it. Expansiveness. Think about being carefree. Look at the clouds and see that. Again, persistence. When you think about leaves turning themselves literally towards the sun, to be fully present in their moment of nourishment, taking in the light. You take that in, feel that in your body. Some people describe it as a lifting and an opening in the chest area or throughout the head or through the whole body. The more you practice bringing sensitivity to that, the more you'll be aware of it. It's almost as if biophilic designers are holding mirrors up to us, enabling us to catch a glimpse of the highest reflection we could ever see of ourselves. Really, what if you mimicked a flower? What if you mimicked the sky? What if you mimicked a tree or the leaf of the plant or a blade of grass? What if? Before coming to you today, I called on the help of my communities and I asked across my social media platforms for folks to share with me what they thought or what came to mind for them when they think of this idea of green spaces, like the ones we're talking about now. So here are some of the responses that I received. Paths. This person emphasized manicured paths. They don't really want to see them overgrown. Trees. Shared with people. So we have this idea of community coming into play. Texture. Peace. Tranquility. Places to rest. Calm. Climbing greens like ivy and morning glory on trellis. Can you just imagine the climbing ivy? Think about the persistence that takes. Have you seen all the places ivy grows? Have you ever tried to kill an ivy plant? Persistence. What if you adapted or adopted the behavior of that sort of plant when you had to do something hard? Calming spaces to just be, someone said. Just be what? Just be. Not be rushed to go anywhere, be anything to anyone else, do anything for anyone else, just be in the stillness, this present moment. Bliss. Someone mentioned a dear friend who passed from this life and who always surrounded herself with green. What does the idea of green conjure for you? Answer these questions for yourself. Why do we so appreciate green spaces? Why do we choose to spend time outdoors? Why go outside? What value do these experiences offer? Many of my clients call this peaceful, abundant, safe, resetting kind of space that they're learning to build with me inside their bodies and have it spill over into their lives. They call it home. Many of them will take their hand and place it on their heart. Some of them will put another hand on the gut, solar plexus, and they do this little shaking action and they say home. They really ground in it. It feels like they're finding their way home when they're learning to find this inner space of calm and peace and connect with it as a practice. So now I challenge you. Consider what you can bring into your space that could spark the biophilic phenomenon for you in your home, in your car, in your cubicle, in your office, even on your phone's lock screen, if that's the best that you can do right now. It might be a plant or a photo of a plant. It could be audio recordings of the rain or of the ocean. It could be a painting, a beautiful portrait of something like a tree that's deeply rooted, but also able to sway. It could be a fountain that enables you to audibly hear the sound of water, has that in your space. Or it could be a decorative bowl that you select and you fill with water every day as a mindful grounding practice. The next challenge is to think back to the exercise that we did earlier and take a breath, linger in these spaces that you create for yourself or that you find yourself in. Linger with the feelings. That's perhaps the most important part, the feelings. And as I'm closing, I underscore the urging to you to explore. Explore the ways that you can incorporate not just biophilic design, but also the intentional practice that deepens you into the experience of life connection so that you can last, as Valerie Kaur says, and thrive, as I say, through the pain and the suffering and the squeezing and the shifting and transitioning, the loss, deepen into connection so that you can, in fact, live and continue to thrive and grow and make your journey with confidence, with clarity, and with calm, moment by moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yolanda.
Thank
for
you,
this
Corey.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful talk.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, so there is a couple questions coming in, I think. Okay. The first one is, what does green space conjure for you?
For me? I'll have on green clothes today. So I think lots about abundance. I think about growth and maturation. A word that really stays with me is flourishing, 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 flourishing. In fact, this is a theme in my household with my family. We have this mantra that we have for ourselves that has to do with flourishing, and the actual word is in the mantra. So when I think of green spaces, I don't just think about the literal green. I think about, the lush foliage. I think about that, but I also think about, just from a spiritual standpoint, moving into abundance. Having this abundant energy around me, whether it's love, whether it's food, provision, in the physical sense, money, access, networks. Green spaces to me means living, thriving, being alive. Yeah, there's a softness to it. There's also, for me, a balance. When I think about nature, I don't only think about what's good. I also have a very strong awareness of loss and change, transitioning. So green spaces also make me think about seasons and how life has this constant shift to it, and how we have to be able to last through all of that shifting. yeah, so I see nature, and I see examples of what it is to move through life. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Even in your bio, you talked about this is your latest season, right? Which was, I think, pretty impactful for me and hopefully for others. So Jess has a question. As a lover of words and a scholar of etymology, what is a word that stays with you and makes home in your mantra vocabulary? Excuse me, makes a home in your mantra vocabulary.
What is a word that stays with me?
That stays with you and makes a home in your mantra vocabulary.
Yeah, yes is one. There's so many. I told y'all I love words. This is a hard question, but the yes meditation is with me often, especially now. So acceptance. And for me, acceptance, as I mentioned in the talk, is a powerful step towards healing. The less we fight and hold on to things as we move through this changing and shifting, the less misery we experience. And so when I have something hard come up or something that feels like, really? Like, and then I'm just like, no, then I stop, I pause, I soften, and then I just say, yes, yes, this belongs. This is part of it. This is part of life. If it's hard, yes. If it's loss, if it's death, if it's fear, if it's frustration. So yes, yes. It's a very short word, but it's with me. Yeah.
So Ariel asked, what can we bring into our personal spaces that can bring on biophilia? So I think you had mentioned plants in some ways, but what are some more of those ways that we can bring biophilia into our world?
Sure, inspiring it. So yeah, I think, again, I'm going to go back to that base mantra of earth, air, water, fire. And it doesn't always have to be literal. It could totally be a plant. It could also just be your window. Like if you live in a space that has windows, and I say if you, because I've definitely lived in spaces that didn't have windows. So if you have a window, you let the sunlight in. That could prompt a biophilic response. If you don't have access to windows, imagery, this is a creative space. So I'm talking to people who understand art. There are all kinds of ways that you could bring in symbols that help to inspire you to associate a thought or feeling with something that has to do with earth, air, water, or fire. You could light a candle. Again, I said you could take water from the faucet and put it in a bowl. And really bringing your awareness and attention to the water, to the way that it moves, to where else water lives. Your imagination is very powerful. And breath. So again, that's something that's always with you. Always. Just take a breath, mindful breath, paying attention to air moving in and out of your own body, because you're nature. You are nature. So those are easy ways. And then you can just expand out from there and get extravagant as you want to. Get as extravagant as you want to. Hope that answers that question.
Very good. Any last questions? We probably have time for one or two more. You want to enter them into the chat?
Thank you for your questions.
Lots of wonderful thank you messages coming in the chat too, as well. So it looks like we might be questioned out. Okay. But appreciate everything that you shared with us this morning. I know there's been several folks who've chatted that this, has been a pretty impactful talk for them and a beautiful talk. I keep seeing the word beautiful in it in the chat. So
I know I'm taking time now to look at these, actually see them. Give thanks. Thank you all for your kind words. Appreciate that.
So again, thank you so much. And thank you to our community too. Thanks for being here on this Friday. I hope everyone stays safe and enjoys the holiday season and enjoys this weekend because it's Friday. Yeah, so again, take care, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you again, Yolanda. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.